Chapter 9. Layla shuffled her feet, kicking up dirt on the street. A rusty gate hung partway open. Beyond it, a wooden building with white paint that had either faded or flaked off so that now it looked sickly and pale. Above the dark wood door hung an insignia, a large circle with a smaller circle inside of it, and inside that, a triangle around which were little squiggles like lines of lightning or light. The Order of Deos. The sun hadn't fully risen, its light only now beginning to stretch over the edge of the world, and yet Layla was certain Evanvalt would be awake. The smoke rising above the chimney smelled of rose and myrrh, which meant the old priest was in the middle of morning prayer. Any other day, Layla would have thought it rude to interrupt, but today she slipped through the gate and up the rocky path. A metal knocker hung dead center in the door, speckled like pox with copper-colored rust. Layla blew warm air into her palms, then lifted the knocker. The hinge let out a small squeal as metal scraped metal. Then Layla made three quick raps. As the sound of the last knock echoed away, Layla blew more air into her palms and bounced on her toes. She hated the way the cold made her feel. It wasn't the chill exactly, but the vulnerability of it. No inch of her skin was safe from its bite, and once the snow started falling, it would be worse. The cold reminded her that she was frail in the face of the world, hopeless, if not for the heat of a fire and the warmth of blankets and clothes. She looked around while she waited, noticing for the first time small pots of herbs off to the side below the shuttered windows. Well, perhaps they had once been herbs, though now they had withered to leafless twigs, standing tall and barren amid tubs of chalky dirt. Layla was still staring at them when the door opened. Yes, Evanvalt smelled of garlic. It was always the first thing Layla noticed, and she could never figure out why. Did the man bathe in the cloves each night? But beyond the smell, he looked like anyone else in Watchful. His skin was spotted with age and as tough as leather. His head was shaved, but white hairs grew sparsely on his cheeks and chin, wispy and long. His white robes, stained and dirty, were all that marked him as a priest. Well, that and the demanding tone in his voice. Priest Evanvalt. Layla bowed her head slightly. Good morning. It's almost morning, the priest said, his eyes roaming beyond Layla. Public prayers begin in an hour, if you would like to return then. He shifted from foot to foot, his fingers drumming along the doorframe. A pit of nerves grew in Layla's stomach. She couldn't decide if coming here had been wise or not. Well, I'd like to come. It's just, I'll need to be off to find work soon, and work, the priest said, dragging the word out slow and steady. Work is good, though sometimes I wonder if our hands toil more than they need. Maybe if more people took an ounce of time to ask Deos for favor and blessing, then the weeds wouldn't grow so voracious, the cows would give their milk freely, and our shoes wouldn't wear themselves so thin. Layla opened her mouth to ask what then the cobbler would do, but shut it a moment later. She had only ever spoken to the priest a handful of times, and she already regretted her choice to make it a handful and one. Never mind, child, Evanvalt said with a huff. He stepped back and opened the door wide, warm air rushing over Layla. Just come in before a draft can follow you. Come on now. Layla hustled inside, squeezing past Evanvalt and trying not to gag. Did garlic even grow in Watchful? Where did he get so much? But she quickly forgot the smell as her face began to thaw, the tension around her eyes and cheeks easing. Behind her, the door closed with a thud, and the priest shuffled past her. The sanctuary wasn't large, and Layla hadn't been there often enough to think of it as familiar. A hearth sat in one corner, an envious amount of wood stacked beside it. Dozen long benches filled the center of the room, all pointing in the direction of a small dais around which incense burned. It occurred to Layla that it may be the incense Evanvalt burned which gave him the scent of garlic, though she couldn't be certain. Honestly, she couldn't smell the incense over the smell of the man himself. "I don't have much in the way of food," Evanvalt said. "It's been a hard year, and there have been too few alms for the poor. Still, there's a sack of beans and a tater or two in the back. If you give me just a moment, oh no," Layla said, holding a hand to stop the priest. I ain't here for food. My brother would throw one hell of a fit if I brought handouts back home." Evanvalt stopped, one eyebrow raised. He looked strangely gentle in this space. Perhaps it was the light of the candles and the fire casting a myriad of shadows over him that softened his features. Or maybe the incense smoke simply eased the old man's tensions. She thought being alone with him would scare her, but she found it the opposite. "Pride has been the destruction of many, Layla. I beg you not to join them." Layla's heart paused when the priest spoke her name. It unnerved her, making her feel exposed, as if the eyes of the divine were on her. The word reached for her like cold outside, touching everything. Deus seeing her through the eyes of his servant. Was that how it worked? Was Evanvalt God's spy? The priest shrugged. "If not food, then what is it I can do for you? Prayers? Intercession? Confession?" Layla's mouth went dry. She should have been expecting the question, of course, but now that it had been asked, she didn't know what to say. Truthfully, she hadn't meant to come here at all. It had been a whim, a small detour on the way to Mad Rosie's. Evanvalt stayed quiet as Layla floundered. His eyes narrowed, but not harsh. It would have been easier if he'd snapped at her, told her to spit out whatever she needed to say. Instead, he stood a few paces away and waited. It's my brother, Ollie," Layla began, the words finding their way out. "Well, my mother don't think he's all right, and I think maybe, well, I don't know, that maybe she's right, you know? And, well, things ain't been easy for him and us, too, and..." She sat on one of the hard benches, words rushing out and blending together. He left this morning for the wood, like always, I guess, but it doesn't feel like always, and what is always anyways?" Evanvalt stepped toward the fire, and his voice echoed off the walls when he spoke. "It's been hard for the stray Azar, yes? Harder than normal, I mean. He says there ain't been much to hunt, just small game. And even that is growing scarce, yes?" "That's what he says, anyway." Evanvalt took another step toward the hearth. Like many buildings in Watchful, the sanctuary was constructed with a combination of wood and stone. One wall was a motley collection of gray stones, while the wall across from it was built from large slats that let tiny rays of light through. As Evanvalt leaned against the mantel, his shadow stretched out wide behind him, like a black tear through the center of the room. "I have felt it. The change, I mean." Layla cocked her head. "Felt what?" The disturbance, the shift in the wood. It is a time of upheaval, though I do not know why. It is as if the wood senses something, as if it grows afraid." "I don't understand. You sound like one of the strays are," Layla said, looking around as if she'd see a bow hanging on a wall. "Like you know something about the wood." Evanvalt snorted. "I'm certainly no hunter, but there are those of us in the order who understand such things. There is a reason it is me assigned to this maker-forsaken stretch of country. Not just anyone can be trusted here. This task is delicate and requires perception." "That don't make no sense." Evanvalt turned back to her, eyes furrowed together. Life has a way of making no sense until suddenly, when you least expect it, it makes all the sense in the world. Unfortunately for us, the experience of revelation is often unpleasant. Perhaps I speak too freely. I had assumed your father had shared more with you, but I stand corrected. Father, that word made the warmth in the room sink down between the floorboards. What should my pa have told me? He never said he should have told you anything. Oi, don't play those word games. Just tell me what you ain't telling me. The priest shook his head, and the shadow behind him shuddered. Not today, though he lifted up a finger, silencing Layla's oncoming objections. I will consider in prayer what I should and should not share with you. I, for one, will seek the wisdom of Deus, as should you. But come, you did not end up on this doorstep just for cryptic messages. You came looking for help for your brother, yes? You fear for him? Layla ground her teeth, frustration and fear all wrapped up in her cheeks, all wrapped up in her chest. I'm afraid he's off to do something more than a bit stupid. He's getting desperate. Desperate, aren't we all? What truly marks a man is what he is desperate for. You know, I tried to convince Oliver to join the order years ago. He hates that name. Only Ma can call him that. He refused. He was desperate to get back into the wood. He had to take care of you and and your mother, he said. And he's done it. Yes, he has. As best he can. Silence stretched out through the room. The shadow behind Evanval grew smaller as the fire on the hearth shrunk slightly. Your brother has a good heart, Layla. Troubled, yes, surely troubled. But good in most of the ways that count. Can you help him? The words were hardly above a whisper. No. A cold tear seeped out of Layla's eye, tickling her cheek and resting on the edge of her lip. She let the saltiness of it sit there, her body still. Evanvald sighed. There's food here if you need it, and you can spend time in prayer as long as you would like. The Maker is the only one who... But Layla didn't hear what else the priest had to say. She was already slamming the door shut on his words, cutting them clean through.